Hey folks, welcome back to the iPhone Roundup Show. I'm your host, Nick the Dude. Thanks a lot for tuning in. On the iPhone Roundup podcast, we find the best games on the iTunes App Store and give you the rundown on what's worth playing each and every week. Support iPhone Roundup by subscribing to our show via iTunes or YouTube. You can also link or embed our videos on your blog, Twitter, or Facebook page. We've got another great show for you this week, spotlighting 3 recently released iPhone titles. First up, we look at GloBall, a great new brick breaker style game that represents a new approach to a stagnant genre. After that, we check out The Wars, an ultra-simplified version of the strategy game Civilization. And finally, we wrap up with a review of the iPhone adaptation of the 1984 seminal classic, Space Ace. Let's jump right into the reviews. We will see you on the other side. As someone who looks at quite a bit of games created by hobbyists and first-time developers, I run across and play a heck of a lot of brick breaker style games. GloBall definitely brings something special to the genre and deserves a look. Mashing together platformer elements, traditional brick breaker game mechanics, and finally getting rid of that stubborn single screen mentality sets GloBall apart from its formulaic competitors. Plus a really cool Google Earth style high score system for each individual level that shows where the next highest score is located on the globe and draws a circle around your sphere of dominance. So GloBall will say something like you have the highest score within 70 miles and then show you the 70-mile radius around you on the globe as well as the location of the person with the higher score. It's a cool little feature and I'm pretty sure that's where GloBall got its name. Trying to achieve the highest score possible involves looking critically at the way the level is laid out and trying to coordinate your path through the level to fully leverage the color-coded score multipliers that only increase the value of like-colored blocks. Power-ups appear randomly and give your ball the ability to cause explosions, chain reactions, as well as a kind of battering ram power that allows you to breeze right through blocks instead of bouncing off them. The sound effects are really great and add a ton of production value and polish to GloBall. The lack of music seemed a bit strange, but as I'm usually listening to podcasts while I play, it wasn't a big deal to me. One other omission was the lack of a tilt calibration option, so you're basically forced to play the game looking straight down. However, I would expect that the developer will address this issue in an update at some point. GloBall is a really well-produced product that blends aspects from multiple genres and takes advantage of the iPhone's unique characteristics. And hey, it's also a heck of a lot of fun. Check it out for 99 cents during its introductory sale. The Wars is unofficially based off Sid Meier's classic strategy game Civilization. If you've ever played the mobile version on some cell phones, it's very similar to that. The Wars is a pretty straightforward real-time strategy game. Don't worry if that label scares you, it's really very simple to pick up, and like some of its bigger, more complex brethren, will just as easily drain your free time. You and the computer both have a base located at either end of the display. Your goal is to attack the computer's base and do enough damage to destroy it by creating units and sending them into battle. A unit is basically a soldier with some kind of weapon. Each unit costs a certain amount of money, and you get money by killing the computer's units. As you accumulate and spend your money, you will eventually get to a point where you can upgrade your base to the next level, at which point you will have new units to choose from and a base with a new look and more hit points to withstand enemy attacks. Your army starts off in the Stone Ages but progresses right up through modern military, and the last phase of progression even includes robots and UFOs. Along with creating offensive units, you can also build defensive turrets that attach to your base and will fire on any oncoming enemies. You can also upgrade your base to be able to accommodate multiple turrets. Aside from your superior intellect, you do have one advantage over the computer. You can launch a secret weapon, different at each phase of the game, to destroy most of, if not all, enemy units on screen at the time. I'm not sure if it's currently possible, but the addition of a 2-player versus mode in this game would be very cool. I'm really enjoying The War's simplified take on the real-time strategy genre. The game plays extremely well and presents a great value at its introductory price of 99 cents. Pick it up soon before it goes up to $2.99.
Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the planet Earth.
If you grew up in the early 80s and hung around arcades like I did, You hold a special place in your heart for the Don Bluth Laserdisc games, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Space Ace, the second of the two games, has recently been ported to the iPhone and does a great job capturing the indescribable magic associated with both titles. Picture yourself in 1984 stalking the arcade with a fistful of sweaty quarters and being bowled over by the now simplistic graphics of Donkey Kong and Space Invaders. Now imagine your surprise when one day you turn around and see someone playing a game that looks every bit as good as an animated Disney movie. At that time, no one really knew how computers worked, or that this game was developed and designed in a totally different way than a traditional arcade game. All you could see were the ridiculous graphics that had your jaw bouncing off the floor. Okay, so you basically had no control over the characters themselves, and you were simply experiencing what we now call a QuickTime event for the entirety of the game. But wow, did it look amazing. The difficulty of the game was immense, asking players to pick up on sometimes subtle cues to push either up, down, left, right, or the button within a narrow window of time to lead your character into the next scene and advance the story. Add to all this your quickly dwindling supply of quarters, and it was enough to make you break out into a cold sweat. Now that Space Ace has made its way onto the iPhone, I finally have a chance to play through the game pressure-free and see it more for what it was. And to be honest, aside from the demand for split-second input, which can at times be frustrating, the game's basic mechanics still works very well and gives players a sense of accomplishment when they're able to hit the right input and allow the story to continue uninterrupted. At $4.99, I can't recommend Space Ace to everyone, but if you do have some of the same nostalgic feelings as I do, the game and overall experience has definitely been faithfully translated to the iPhone. Alright folks, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can get show updates at twitter.com/iPhoneRoundup, and you can email questions, comments, or suggestions to iPhoneRoundup@gmail.com. Also, if you're a developer, you can send promo codes to your game to that same email address, and we may review it on the show. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.